Warning: graphic pest control video ahead. Do not watch if you might be offended. If, however, you really like watching pest control videos, then hello again and welcome to the Squirrel Hunter channel. Please continue and watch us as we control pest populations with silenced air rifles here in the UK. If you have any questions, can you please check the description below first to see if it's already been answered and for some useful links. Thank you. If you're a regular viewer to this channel, you would have seen this feeder on a number of occasions. It's quite a small feeder compared to some of the other ones. It's in a small wood. Tends to turn up a few squirrels. Half dozen being a decent bag for the day, but I have managed to do 10. And this is the beginning of this year. I think it was like January, February, I'm guessing. Can't remember. And the only reason I've included this piece of footage is because I get nothing this day. But it is a nice segue into the actual story of this video, which is about the metal feeder that you'll be seeing replacing that one. I've already thought this one needed an upgrade or refurb or maybe even replacement, but then I was offered the chance of using a wholly metal feeder. We've never bothered to make one of them before, because I had in my mind that they would probably make the wheat sweat. But when Ben from LGKS Wildlife Management contacted me on Facebook and offered me to have one of his to try, I jumped at the chance. We can take that one down and replace it with this one. That's some of his handiwork. It's one he's already using. He develops them. It's a little bit smaller, but that's not bad. It's only a small wood. Obviously you can make them any size you want. There's a few views of it. Now actually replacing the feeder you saw at the very beginning, and there it is in the wood, parked against a tree, and the other one on the floor to the side. And here we are out with the FAC Rapid and the Archon Optics Zulu S on top, firing JSP exacts in .20. And here I am in a hide, waiting for my first visitor or victim, whichever you want to say. You can see there's quite a stark difference in the amount of foliage, lots of greenery appearing, lots of plants on the ground in flower, all sorts of things happening because it's much later in the year now, more option to get some targets. I'm going to take some test shots before I get going. These feeders come with a little spinner on the side. I'm bang on the money. Wasn't exactly like that to start with, so I had to do a bit of zeroing. Here's the view from the Archon Optics. Always pays to take a test shot. And I know if I can hit that relentlessly, which I could do, then anything that comes into view and presents itself is going to have a hard time. Here's a view of the plants. I always walk between them in a little pathway. I never trample directly across the top of them. There's a little line I follow. Try not to damage the woodland any more than I have to when I'm in there. But I tend to stay in the one part of the wood anyway. You can see it's a lovely day. Woodpeckers and birds and all sorts going on. Very pleasant to be out. I come here to shoot squirrels, so hopefully I'll get one or two turn up. I've seen the level drop like a stone over the last fortnight, which has of course led me to come out today with a reasonable chance of getting some squirrels. I haven't made many videos lately and I do apologise, but my life seems to have taken all sorts of turns lately, so finding time to make videos is quite low down the list. I've got loads of footage I can use, but I've tried to make some new ones soon. My big worry is I talk about the same thing and over and over and over again with very little new to talk about, but the metal feeder was too tempting to make a video to. And there'll be other ones with some new permissions that we've got, some collection of farms that are getting harassed by squirrels damaging all their trees, but that'll be for another day. And there we are in a red circle. This is quite late in the morning. This one came in out of right field. Let's watch this jump here. That tree there has been weighed down and snapped by snow. It was higher up, but it seems to be collapsing down, so I might have to go with the owner and see if I can move it out of the way, maybe chop it and use it as a branch or any other way, because it gets in my field of view generally. It's quite difficult to dodge it. If they sit on the roof, it's difficult. Never mind, this one's sat there waiting for a shot. I'm currently tracking it with a rifle, trying to wait for it to get into a feeding pattern. I haven't shot one for a while, I want to make this count. Just like that. That's the first one down of the day. Actually managed to get one on the ground. This is what I could see through the Arkan Zulu S. As soon as I got the option, I took the shot. Bobbed up and down a few times since then. Shot to the head. A dead squirrel. And that kicking, as I say in every video. Check out the link in the description for Ted Beer's video on why that is the case. It's essentially dead. Just the spinal neurons firing. Now the brain's been destroyed. It can't stop them doing it. I think it's a fight or flight reflex. You shoot a pigeon in the head and they'll generally flap pretty vigorously. Same thing. Anyway, if you saw in the red circle, it's the first sight of a squirrel in the distance, travelling towards the feeder. There he is. Sometimes you get local ones, and you get one quite quickly, but generally speaking, the majority of the squirrels will travel in from somewhere else. That's why you have to wait for a few hours. We normally get there at first light or thereabouts, depending on where we are. And then we sit there till 10, 11, 12, depending. They're coming thick and fast, and we'll tend to stay on longer in the hope of picking one or two last squirrels. But if they don't, sometimes we pack up early. But generally speaking, we'll sit for 3 to 4 hours, drink cups of tea, and wait for squirrels to arrive. This one's taking its sweet time. I'll turn the camera off in a second. Just wait for it to appear on the feeder. Here we are, jump forward in time. Turn the camera back on. Just see him over there. Not sure if you can pick it out on where he was, but I definitely saw movement. This is all one clip, so I've sped that portion up to save you having to wait like I did. Game on. There's one on the ground, obviously we've just seen that. Sometimes that has a little effect on them. Well, my rifle's already in position because it's sat on my man-billy tripod, which I think is a great piece of kit. I haven't got to pick the rifle up or do unnecessary movements. So I'm just sat here with the camera going, peering out the one hole. And again, lots more messing around. This goes on for quite a bit of time. You imagine what this was like if it wasn't 5 times speed. I think some of this is down to the fact the one's on the ground. But the one's come in because it knows there's a free feed available. It just has to overcome the one on the ground. So there's lots of inspecting going on. Judging by the amount of reluctance it's showing to come to the actual feeder side, I would suggest that maybe that one's met the one on the ground before now and maybe got a bit of a beating up. It's probably figured out it's laid there without being challenged long enough, and the grumbly belly has convinced it needs to come in for some food. Looking like it's about to settle, and I should be on it as soon as I get an opportunity. Like that. Straight on headshot, straight onto the ground. Here I am tracking it with the Arkan Zulus S. There we go. Set up pretty much straight in line with the crosshairs. Knocked it straight to the ground. Nothing wrong with that. Obviously I'm switching between 2 recording devices, which is a bit of a pain. Well, that's what has to happen in order to make these videos for you. Quite pleased so far. I haven't blanked, not like the other session at the beginning. Just pleasant to sit in English countryside, listening to the birds some days. Seeing movement over here somewhere. There's a first. Another hunter has entered the wood. It's the first time I've ever seen a cat come in. Whether that green woodpecker's shouting because it sees the cat or whether it's just shouting because it can, I don't know. But the cat's not seen me. I did think for a second it might come and take one of my squirrels. We've had dogs do it in the past.
Didn't seem to even get a wind of them. It's obviously on a mission of its own. Obviously Tiddles is on a day trip. Maybe it's a farm cat, maybe it's from some houses over the way. It's travelled quite some distance to get here, I think. It's pretty well fed. Definitely a first for me. Seen all sorts of other creatures. Never went anywhere near the feeder either, which I did think was quite likely because there's probably rats and mice attracted to the wheat. This robin's here for that sole purpose of stealing some wheat, but I'm quite happy to let a robin have some. Magically disappeared there. So I've seen a squirrel in the distance. In fact, there's two. This time of year you'll get that. Around about May to June, maybe even to July, you'll get siblings travelling in groups, 2s and 3s. Probably the best time of year to get a big bag of squirrels. If you wanted to damage the population at a certain time of year, this is the time. There's definitely more squirrels in the area. And eventually one finds its way to the feeder. And here we go, the same old. Let's go and have a look at the ones on the ground. The tail flicking. I've seen bits of video before now where they've grabbed all the ones on the ground and shaken them really hard. This is more curiosity than anything else. And what they normally do, they normally end up on the feeder. So just have to let it play out. My head's moving too much. Unless I had a shotgun. It's no good for an air rifle shot. I need them to sit up on the feeder. Sit, son, go on. On the side of his feeders he's got wire mesh, which I was a bit dubious about. But they don't seem to have any trouble with it, do they? Look at that. Straight through the front of the head. Seems to be an effective design. Another one hits the deck. Pleased with that. Here we go. It's the Arkan Zulu S. Right over the eyebrow. One of my favourite shots. Even through the eye wouldn't be a bad thing. Crosses the brain. Lots of damage. I did think there'd be a bit of tail hair pulling for nesting material. We've seen blue tits do that before now. You're just foraging for a few loose kernels of wheat, I think. That's all we use normally. It's something we see around the feeders quite often. The wood chicken, also known as the pheasant. So the cockbird come in. It's breeding season. I wouldn't shoot it anyway. It's not allowed at the moment. He's bringing these girls in. That clucking noise, he goes in first to check it's safe. Be interested to see the interaction with these dead squirrels. And again, I sped it all up. It was here for quite a while, these messing about. I like it when they visit because it gives the illusion to any other creature around that it's quite safe there. When it's not safe for squirrels at all. These are the things you don't see in the woods normally. If a load of your wheat ends up on the ground, they will come in and they will hoover it all up. It'll be them, all the other birds, mice, rats, badgers, deer, you name it, everything else have a free feed and your wheat will disappear in no time. Surprising the difference between the genders. Big showy male and the female's built for sitting on nests and not being discovered. And at this point I think he's eyeballed me in the hide. He's sort of making his way towards me, which is a little bit intimidating if I'm going to be honest. Only a little bit. These modern day dinosaurs don't seem to know when to stop. They'll fight with anything at this time of the year. He's definitely checking me out. While his girls have a feed. Such a pretty bird, and as equally as stupid as they are pretty. Quite a magnificent creature when you look at the colours. Like I said before, I've filmed quite a lot of footage of it. I've only shown you the little bits I thought were half decent. Wouldn't normally see them up this close if I wasn't in my hide. None of them seem to be caring about me, beyond that initial look. He obviously wants to get at the wheat that's been spilt. He's not being put off by the dead bodies, is he? You've seen it in other videos where we shot a squirrel off the feeder and they haven't even flinched. Doesn't do any harm to them whatsoever. Doesn't upset them in any way. Talk of the devil. And from the right comes the squirrel. Stay there long enough, eventually one will turn up. This could be entertaining. See how startled he is by the female, only a little bit. He knows where he's going, he's been here before. That's the reason why the level's been dropping and coming and pigging out when I've not been here. He's making a beeline for the feeder. They're quite bolshy, squirrels are, they'll attack if they need to. But while the male's moving away, it's giving him confidence. That's fine. While he's watching that pheasant, he's not watching me, is he? Or she? The only possible problem this could be is if the pheasant unnerves the squirrel, so he doesn't want to settle properly so I can shoot it. So I'm currently tracking it, ready to shoot it off the side of that tree, like that. There we go, see? Told you the pheasant wasn't going to move. Even though it's having a bit of a fit on the ground, pheasant's looking on. I thought he was going to attack at this point. He was going to have a little look at it. Didn't put him off at all, did it? There's another dead one on the ground. Here we go, watch this. I'm aiming for the head and it moved forward just as I took the shot. So I actually got an accidental body shot there. Normally they recoil rather than push forward. The .20 rapid 18 foot-pound high body shot. Good night, Vienna. Wasn't long after that another one came in. A lot of these, this is late morning now, 10 o'clock onwards. Obviously the pheasants were still there. Just at this point, from wherever they're coming from, they've managed to get this far on their foraging, and they will forage over a large range. They spend a lot of time on the ground in their day. Back to normal speed now, so I line up on him, ready to take the shot. There's the click of doom. Good solid headshot straight on again. That's why we came up with a side shelf idea for some of our feeders. I do like a straight on headshot. If you can get them to sit in a position that allows you to get a killing shot, why wouldn't you want to do that? That one's kicked off the side, but I assure you it is dead. Here's a shot, straight on headshot. Just wait for it to settle. And there's the shot. I finished the session for the day. This is where they all landed. Just to show you. I filmed this on my phone. They dropped pretty much straight to the ground. You see the shelf made of mesh. Quite a small hopper, no lid on it. That one's tucked itself in that little nook of the ground there. Its tail hanging out, makes it easy to see. That's the other one that kicked to the side. That's when I hit with the body shot. Heart and lung shot by the look of it. Not too bad. 5 will do for the day, and I think the metal feeder is a great success.
Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like, subscribe and share. Thank you.